Hello, Just Gem here, and welcome, or indeed welcome back to my channel. I'm not going to dilly-dally because I'm filming before work, so I'm going to try and be super efficient today. And today I am going to be dipping into this beauty. This is the Cooltrals palette by Cosmic Brushes. It's a stunning 20 pan palette. It's described as an eye and face palette. It's one of those ones where it's got a warning that says like some shades aren't safe for around your eyes, but I suspect that's more for American folks whose regulations are slightly different to ours. I think ours, while they seem more lax, are actually more up to date. We don't have to necessarily worry about a lot of the warnings that's on the back of the sleeve, but it's got a table there that kind of tells you which ones are supposedly safe for your eyes and which ones aren't. But I'm going to be ignoring that. I'm just going to put whatever shades I fancy on my lids because that's just what I want to do. In my last video I swatched live. I don't think I'm going to do that today because that gets quite messy, wiping off and everything in between, so I'm actually going to swatch later, which could be very interesting when it comes to picking what shades to go together. But I suspect, with it being quite a cohesive colour story, that no matter what I pick, really it's kind of going to go together. I'm going to do two looks, one on each eye. Yeah, I'm going to zoom you in and let's get started. There is a big part of me that wishes I had swatched live now, and I've just got my flash on my phone running along so you can see what it looks like. So that's with the flash running along the shades, and this is with no flash. This blue here for a start, magnetic, wow. This blue here, affinity, wow. Midnight, I mean the depth of Midnight is absolutely incredible. I'm not going to lie, I think I ummed and ahed and gasped far more swatching that blue side than I did that purple side. The purple side is pretty, but it's almost a bit more muted than this blue side, which is very impactful and packs a punch. Those are the 20 swatches, 20 shades of Cooltrals. I've already got base makeup on. I have applied the Made by Mitchell Truth Tint. I got the shade 16 and I'm kind of umming and ahhing over whether that's a bit too dark, but I'm also planning on doing a bit of a what do I think now video, so I'm trying to go back and use certain products that I've shot footage for YouTube for, just to kind of see if I still like it, if I've changed my mind at all. So yeah, I've put Made by Mitchell Truth Tint on, and I've got a bit of concealer which I've already set, which might not have been a very sensible idea, but I've done it anyway. I'll probably be a little bit more cautious when applying these just to try and avoid fallout. And I've primed my eyes with the Be Perfect Prime Primer. I think that's what it's called. It's not to hand, so I can't show you, but I can always put it in the description box below. What I might try and do is one side that's ever so slightly more neutral and one side that's leaning more in towards the colour. So I think I might do the slightly more neutral eye on this side and then the more colourful look on this side. And it's not going to be crazy colourful, it's called Cooltrals, it's kind of in the name, so it's going to give a cool toned look, cool neutral leaning. Well, we'll see, won't we, when I put it on my eyelids. I'm probably going to be using a combination of Rephr and Zoeva brushes, or whatever is clean. I'm starting with a Rephr number 1, which is a little bit stained, but it is clean. So Rephr number 1. I think I'm going to go with Grounded. So is this lens going to focus? Yeah, there we go. So I'm going to start off with Grounded, and I'm going to put that kind of in my crease area. Cosmic is again, I don't know if I've kind of been sleeping a bit on indie brands, or why they've kind of not been on my radar. I said neutral, and that's really... Or did I mean to go in with Stone Cold? Well, I've started with Grounded. It might be that I swap around and do this as the colourful eye instead, but we'll see. Cosmic, it's kind of a first time trying, but not really. I also picked up Winter Wonderland and Delicious Delights, but I've not, again, had a chance to kind of go into those. But Cosmic are on TikTok Shop, and they do lives daily. I recommend checking those out. I tend to have those lives on my phone. I have it propped up, and you know, while I'm kind of working and answering my emails, I've got the TikTok live just playing in the background, and it's quite fun. I think they're relatively small in the UK actually. As I say, I've been hearing about them, but I've never taken the plunge and gone for it and bought a palette up until very recently. And I say it's newish, like I say this is the first time using it. It's not really. Like, when Winter Wonderland and Delicious Delights arrived, I did do a look on each eye with each palette, just because I wanted to see what it was like, and I wanted to know if I liked the formula and if I would want to get these palettes, if it would be worth me getting these palettes. And I did like the formula, so I decided I would. I think I might go in with Natural now, which is this shade here. Is it going to focus? Maybe if I don't know, but you get the idea. It's this shade here, and I'm going to go in with a smaller brush. I really enjoyed Delicious Delights and Winter Wonderland especially, and I think that Winter Wonderland would make like a really, really nice companion palette for Cooltrals actually. I think this is going to end up being a purpley look, so much for neutral. But as I say, I might switch it and do neutral on the other eye instead. This is what happens when you don't pre-swatch. But it's kind of like a potluck, isn't it? You just dip in and you get a nice surprise when you see what the shade actually looks like on your lid. I'm just using this smaller brush, using this deeper shade and going right into the socket almost. And I think it's quite a nice, it's blending quite nicely there. And then I'm trying to look in the corner of my eye to see what I might want to use to deepen this up. And I might actually use a blue as a deepening shade, see what that ends up looking like. The price point is unreal. I know that their prices have kind of steadily increased. When I think about their first release, they had Royal Rose, which they don't make anymore, which I'm kind of gutted about because that colour story looks beautiful. And then I think after that they had Muse, and then I think Serenity came after that. And I think Muse was 18 and Serenity was 20. And then Winter Wonder, I might have the order wrong, but Winter Wonderland was 28, and these two, Cooltrals, which I'm working with now, and Neutrals, which I'll be working with later, they are both 28. But there are plenty of 10% discounts knocking about, and they have pretty decent sales on the TikTok shop, so I definitely recommend tuning in, and Swayze, who does them, is lovely. I'm going to try the shade Midnight as a deepening shade. Oh my word, okay. That's picked up a lot. Okay, let's see how this goes. See, I like Refa brushes. Ooh, But they don't offer malt. That is wow. I wonder if this is a bit looser pressed, because I've gone in with the same amount of sort of pressure that I went in with the other shades, but that's a lot of colour that's deposited there. I'm trying to keep it low. I don't know if I've been successful there, but I might have to go back in on the corners there with Grounded and Natural. I just wasn't expecting it would pick up that much, because it didn't pick up as much when I used the first two. On reflection, I probably should have started with Midnight and then blended out with the other two, but this is working. This is working. Just bringing that in. Just trying to blend inwards basically to stretch some of that colour out and across. Yeah, I'll fix that. As I say, that's deposited, that picked up way more than I thought it would. I'm going to use my Refa 13, and I think I might blend it a bit more with Grounded, just to get rid of that harsher line. Next time, if I want to use Midnight and do a similar look, that's the shade that I will start with. Yeah, see, molting this Refa brush. And now for the shimmer shade. So this is clearly turned into the colourful side. I'm eyeballing Gravitate because I'll show you why I'm eyeballing Gravitate. It looks incredible. I don't know if I can catch the shift. Okay, it's focused, yeah. So look at Gravitate, look at that. So I think that's going to have to go on my eyeball. And we're going to use my finger, of course. And can you see the shift on the lid? I think you can. Actually, these shades together do go pretty well, I've got to say. That's nice. That's really nice. I like that a lot. Along my lower lash line, I'm clearly going to run Midnight. I've just done it again. We've established how pigmented this is, and I've just gone right in. I'm just going to use a different... Yeah, that's kind of worked. We've just established how pigmented that shade is, and I've just gone right in, dipped my brush in willy-nilly and shoved it on my lid. I don't know if I want to smudge that out a tiny bit with Natural, just to take some of the harshness out. Or just kind of run it over the top almost. So it's just not quite as severe. Yeah, that's better. And then in a corner, Reveal. I'm not used to filming in 4K, so obviously it takes up more space on your memory card, and I forgot to delete the footage from Sunday before I started recording this, so it cut off, but I caught the fact that it cut off. All I've done is obviously delete the footage from my last video, and where have I put that lovely little brush I was using? I've just used a Zoeva with reveal in that corner, so you can see it right there, that pop of blue. So what I might do is just carry it in a little bit further and give it a bit more of a blend into the purple. Yeah, just like that. But yeah, that is look number one. That Gravitate shade is just... ooh! Right, eye number two. I definitely am going to... do I go a bit smoky with it? I just feel that Stone Cold and Eternal are quite light, so I don't know. Well, let's just see, shall we? Let's put them on my eyeballs and see. I'm going to try to sort of focus on... I say focus, not that my camera will, but there we go. So I'm going to try and focus on Eternal and Stone Cold, and I don't know if they might be a bit light on me. Like, I'm kind of... there's part of me that wishes there was maybe a cool tone brown in here. Like maybe if Grounded was substituted for a cool tone brown. And I think considering it's called Grounded, that would have been absolutely perfect. So far that's my only possible criticism. And I don't know, I think Stone Cold is ever so slightly darker. Let's try putting that... yeah, see, that's pretty light. So I probably am going to have to go into... yeah, I just wish Grounded was a little bit more browny. And I think that would have just rounded off this palette perfectly. Oh wait, hang on. Doing a bit of patting here. My primer is quite light, and I've done that deliberately to get the most colour payoff. So let's keep patting at Stone Cold and seeing what we get. I mean, it just looks kind of straight up greyish on the camera. I mean, to be fair, it doesn't look that different in person. But maybe, is there a grey? There's not a grey. Well, there is. No, Shadow is grey. It's quite a dark grey. I'm going to try Shadow. Actually, in hindsight, maybe I should have gone in with Shadow and then use Stone Cold. But yeah, let's try Shadow. I wonder if Shadow's going to have a similar texture as Midnight, so I'm trying to be careful here. Yeah, I should have gone in with Shadow first. Because I've packed on so much of Stone Cold trying to get it to show, I don't know how well Shadow is now going to blend in. But this is user error, this is all me. I'm filming early in the morning, I haven't even had a coffee yet. But yeah, because dark colours don't really like layering on top of light colours. So I'm getting a bit of patchiness there. But that's my fault, entirely my own fault. Should have gone in with Shadow first. But considering that I've made the error, it's not actually looking too bad. Could be worse. Yeah, so really what I should have done is done the outline, created like the outer V kind of creasy shape first with shadow, and then blended it out with either Stone Cold or Eternal. And I think that would have worked out much better. But we live and learn, we are where we are. And I think I've clawed it back ever so slightly. But shadow is looking, not shadow, Stone Cold is looking very, very light. And I think if I had just used it to blend the edges, this would look better. So I'm almost trying to blend it completely away. Not completely away, but blend it so it's not as harsh of a tone, so it almost looks as if that's what I've done, like I've gone in with shadow and then blended it out with Stone Cold. Okay, now for the lid shade here, part of me wants to use Secret, but we're gonna do Slate. And yeah, I think for my inner corner I might use Moonlight. So this, I mean, this has basically ended up being a smoky eye, hasn't it? It's a bit blurred. Come on, camera, focus more. Focus! Okay, there we go. Dab a little on the outside here to blend it in. Okay, and then I'm going to clean off my Refer 2 and go back in and tidy up that shape a little bit. Using a pencil brush to run shadow under my eye. Here are the two looks finished off with some liner and mascara, and as I just like to tight line, I've just used some Fenty Fly Liner, I think it's called, and my Pat McGrath Dark Star mascara. I've zoomed you back out for final thoughts on the Cooltrals palette. As I say, it's not necessarily a first try of the brand. I've done one eye using Winter Wonderland previously and one eye using Delicious Lights. And based on that, I decided, well, not even based on that, I had a sneaky suspicion that I would like Cosmic Brushes, just from seeing reviews, from seeing other people using them, and from seeing the colour stories. And this colour story is no exception. I think, as I said, for me, if I'm being nitpicky, I would probably have switched out Grounded for like a cool toned brown, a cool toned, slightly deeper brown. But that's the only change I think I would make. Gravitate is just incredible. Like Gravitate, that's what is on my lid on this side. And that's just a stunning, and I think I was able to show it on the camera there, just how it shifts, and you can, it's just so pretty on the eye. It's got like this purpley, greeny shift to it, and that's really, really stunning. There's obviously a handful of shades I haven't used, and I have to apologise for my own human error. Like, please don't think that that's the palette, that's my fault. I almost didn't notice shadow in the corner over there, which is quite interesting given the name. The formula on this, I've noticed some of the mattes are ever so slightly different. So Midnight, when I picked that up, Midnight, yeah. So Midnight, when I picked that up, it picked up a lot of product, whereas Grounded and Natural, when I dipped into those, I could dip in and blend and dip in and blend. So you've got to be careful, I think, when using Midnight. I don't think shadow is like Midnight. Even just looking at the pans after each use, you can almost tell which ones have the most pickup. But yeah, if you're using Midnight, it's a beautiful colour. It's like a deep royal blue, if you can even refer to it as that. I don't know if calling it a deep royal blue is a contradiction, but that's what I'm going with. But it's like this deep royal blue that is majorly pigmented and a really, really beautiful colour. I'm looking forward to, I mean, all the shades that I didn't use, Affinity, Magnetic, Tempting. If the other shimmers are anything to go by in this palette, they're going to be stunning. I don't know how well you can see the intensity of the sparkle in these shimmers. Even like Slate, I was just applying my mascara in the mirror and the sparkle that is being given off by these shades is intense and beautiful. Thoroughly enjoyed that, and for the price point, I mean £28 for a palette like this. If this was a high-end brand like a Natasha Denona or Pat McGrath, they would be charging you through the nose. Well, we know how much they'd be charging us. Pat would charge us $120 just for the first two rows. These indie brands are giving those high-end brands a run for their money. They really, really are. And considering I'm trying to be more sensible, I can see myself not necessarily buying higher end palettes going forward. Not when you've got palettes like this, which are on the same level or even surpassing, you know, outperforming high-end brands. Cosmic, really well done. Looking forward to playing with neutrals next. I think I've learnt some lessons about the formula as well, so I'm hoping when I go in with neutrals, like if I want to do like a deep outer V, make sure that I start with that. And I know that's a lot of people prefer that technique anyway, and I can see why they do. And I think that works in particular with pigments, with shadows that are exceptionally pigmented. It's better to start with the darker shades and work your way out to the lighter shades, which seems scary, but I think you'll get the best results when you do it that way. I hope you have found this video useful. What do you think of the palette? Do you like the colour story? Do you own any palettes from Cosmic already? Thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch, and hopefully I will see you again in a video in the not too distant future. Take care. Bye bye.